Welcome once again to the Purple Rock Survivor podcast. This week we're discussing San Juan del Sur episode 4, and in honor of this week's snuff... Oh, shit.
You're doing alright, but I can tell you were struggling.
Yeah, well, in my defense...
Stop throwing this challenge, John.
Yeah, in my defense, I have a cold still, somehow.
Still?
Yeah. If
you guys don't even get cold around there, right?
Zing. Yeah, if you're the type of person that doesn't get ill very often, have kids. That'll change. Anyway, in honor of this week's snuffed torch, there we go, I didn't stumble over that time, I think we call this the Drooshbag episode. Because
Drooshbag!
We finally got a heavy dose of the Wright brothers of douchebaggery, Alec and Drew, and it did not disappoint.
No, it was pretty spectacular. Like, whenever the show has somebody as god-awful a person or a personality as, Drooshbag was, this is what you want to happen. Mm-hmm. And if you look at some of the seasons we hate, it's because it didn't happen. It's because Nayanka got to just quit and Colton just got to quit. Like, we need this. Feed us this, Survivor. And they fed it to us to the point where I was practically like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm full.
Yeah. This challenge should be, or this episode should have been called something like roasting s'mores over the tire fire, because Drew certainly was one tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting because Survivor, by its very nature, is a show about, continuity. It's a full-length story told over however many episodes, 16 episodes or whatever.
Sure, ballpark.
This was a self-contained story. This is something you can almost just watch out of order. Like, this was just one story. There's a little bit of stuff that will carry forward, but they weren't interested in the long plot. This was the story of Drew and how delicious it is.
Yeah, Drew can just put this on his modeling reel.
And he might be like, oh, I looked good. Like, we talked about it last week, and I like to think I nailed it. Not just my prediction, 3-0, but he has the confidence of the stupid. And I think some people didn't quite get what I was saying. Like, maybe it was a phenomenon that they hadn't encountered.
No, I totally got it.
People. But I think some of our listeners, it's like, this episode showed exactly what I was talking about. He is a very stupid man. And it doesn't affect him whatsoever. Exactly. Oh my god. We're gonna be talking about this episode and this guy, like, for as long as we talk about Survivor, won't we? Like, anytime we want to talk about epic dumbassery, like, this is gonna be one of the callbacks.
Oh yeah, this will definitely be a go-to callback. Just because, when do you get this sort of self-contained douchebag story all in one episode?
It was like, it kept, like, very early on, when he's there and he's talking about throwing the challenge, and I'm just like, oh, please throw the challenge that gets you booted out. Oh, please throw the challenge that gets you booted out. And he just kept piling, and it's like, no, Shelby, there can't be any more. And then there was more.
Oh, the best part is, so as soon as he starts talking about throwing the challenge, I'm like, well, it's been great knowing you, Drew. And my wife's like, oh, come on, that's ridiculous. They need him around. I'm like, do they? Look at that other tribe. Do they really need Drew around?
Yes. And also, they need Drew to win challenges. Well, apparently he's not all that interested in that.
So, yeah, the writing was on the wall, like, immediately. And then just by the time we got to Tribal Council, it was just like a novel on the wall because there were so many signs. The editors were just like, you know what? Guys, it's Drew, but you're going to enjoy this. So, let's go.
Yeah, and then as obvious as it was to us, because obviously we get the benefit of a very heavy edit, it clearly wasn't as obvious to everybody at that tribal council, which we will get to. But many times I like to go back to Tyson's move in Heroes vs. Villains as the only time that somebody basically voted themselves out. But this is worse. Like, Drew completely engineered his own exit. Like,
he gave them the opportunity to vote him out and helped himself get voted out.
And they kept doing it. So, yeah, I want to discuss everything that happened within the manufacturing of his own exit from the game. Like, people who have quit haven't manufactured their exit quite as completely as Drew did last night. The first part is, he's just himself. Like, nobody likes him. And this is why we put him in the 0% club. This is why I predicted last week that he would get voted out. And then by the time, commercials during football on Sunday were there, it was like, oh, he's gone. Like,
I didn't
even
see
the
those.
previews were just like, we're gonna make this guy a joke and it will be fun. But, like, just this episode, he keeps leading off, and, there's the fun bit with Jeff, which we'll also talk about with, the Flint. But he just over and over kept saying, I'm the only one with the balls to do this, like, to his tribe. Like, yes, Drew, that's the way to build the social game, is by reinforcing all of your alliance mates' lack of baldness.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you keep repeating to everybody how great you are, eventually they're just going to accept your greatness. This is Drew's
That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I've been trying this whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so then there's that, and then, yes, he goes to exile and hooks up, this master plan that, I think I'm going to throw a challenge. And typically, when you want to throw a challenge, usually you should have some kind of secure alliance and an idea of who the person is that you're going to throw the challenge to get rid of. He kind of seemed to skip that step maybe a little bit.
Right. I just know it's a good idea to throw the challenge. I'm not exactly sure who we're going to take out, but it'll be somebody because there are snakes on this tribe.
And God bless the show for I don't think they did this intentionally. In fact, I will guarantee they did not do this intentionally. But God bless the serendipity that they came up with a challenge that one person could throw. Due to a lack of throwing, basically.
Literally throw.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. Do you think he was the only person throwing the challenge?
I actually listened to his exit interview, partly because I wanted some comedy. And he claims that there were several other people that were in on it, and most of them sat out that challenge, which to a degree makes sense, because why have Jeremy and Kelly and relatively strong players sitting out a fairly physical challenge? So, okay, I understand, they left Dale in there, but Dale's whole job was just to toss rings, so I could go either way
Keith,
on this.
You mean Dale's on the other
I'm sorry,
tribe,
Keith,
yeah.
Yes, they left Keith in. Actually, Keith did do the obstacle, and he did fairly well, too.
Yes,
Anyway.
he's been saying that, I think John and Jeremy, because John also sat out, were in on it. But, a couple things. For one, I think this episode is more than proof that you need that, Drew is not exactly a speaker of truth, or somebody who's, accounting of things one should believe.
If you had the chance to listen to that exit interview, it's gold, because he calls himself, and this is a direct quote, intellectually privileged. This was a quote. Is that
another way of saying special?
I don't know.
So I don't know if I believe him. I do admit when I was watching, I'm like, why are they sitting? But you know what? Maybe John and Jeremy just aren't very good swimmers, because the swimming portion didn't undo them. It was Drew not throwing the thing at targets. Like, if Drew wasn't trying to throw the challenge, they probably would have won. And if you're going to throw out a challenge, I think you need to participate in the challenge throwing. Like, sitting out isn't a good enough way to throw a challenge. Yeah. It's maybe a signal that, win or lose, I don't really care.
Right.
But, if the mob was paying you in a point-shaving scandal, you don't get to ride the bench. You need to be out there missing shots.
Right. So that's why I kind of agree with your assessment. Like, I think they were kind of like, Drew told them, we're going to throw the challenge. And they're like, you know what? Either way, we'll see. We'll sit out. If we lose, we lose. If we don't, we don't. Yeah,
because my thing I wonder is, like, if there's a conspiracy amongst multiple people to throw a challenge, shouldn't another part of that conspiracy be Target?
You would think, right?
Because I think this episode clearly showed that the first time anybody talked about who to vote people out was after they lost that challenge.
Well, what was so funny is that, I think there was a target, but just for everybody, it was someone different.
That's right. They're all like, yes, this is my opportunity to get rid of so-and-so.
Yep. Like, I'm taking Keith out, finally. Oh, yes, yeah. Drew's going home. Oh, finally, we're getting rid of Kelly.
So, and to that point, maybe he's not lying. Maybe everybody's like, yeah, I can stand to go to tribal council. It'd be great if some of the girls were like, yeah, so we can vote you out. Let's do it.
I'm in. Ready, break.
So he throws a challenge, which results in going to tribal council, which he is voted out in. But then they get back, and he's like, was that some of the most epically poor gameplay of all time?
There was a whole lot of it in tonight's episode, but...
Oh yeah, and we'll get to that. There's been a whole lot of that all season. But so his closest ally is John.
Yes.
John is talking to the other people that, assuming is the brain trust of this operation. Heavy scare quotes on brain trust. And John's like, I think we should, remove Julie. And he's giving his reasons. And Drew's just like, nah, we're not doing that. We're voting Kelly out.
Bro, listen. Kelly has watched Survivor before. We gotta get rid of her.
And the best is like John like stops, is like, "Could you just listen to me?" And he's just like, "Nope,
No. This is important.
what we're doing."
Kelly has to go.
Oh my god. Like, how remarkably tone deaf do you have to be to interrupt anybody in that fashion? But you're one true alliance mate. The only person you get along with is like, nah, that's not what's happening. We're doing this. But wait, there's more.
Oh, well, what's funny, though, is that John's plan, I mean, at least for himself, was surprisingly competent. I mean, again, it's a low bar that I hold John to, so he exceeded that because, at least in the short term, if he gets rid of Julie under the guise of, we have to keep pairs in the game because we're a pair and we want to pair up with our pairs, that's not a bad short-term strategy, but Drew, not having it. No.
And it would also accomplish what Drew is claiming that he thinks is important.
Yes.
It would minimize the girls' chances of forming an all-women's alliance.
Yes.
Now, because Drew is what does he call it? Intellectually special or something?
Intellectually privileged.
Oh. He has this conversation about a potential all-girls alliance and the need to break it up with one of the girls.
So, the number of times that they've suggested a women's alliance on this show is infinitely larger than the number of times an actual women's alliance has been formed. Of course, Drew doesn't know this because, unlike Kelly, he's never seen Survivor other than the mandatory watch he had to do before he came out there.
He wasn't watching that either.
No,
it was playing in front of him, but I doubt they make you take a test.
And even better, he's figured it out. This women's alliance of 4 is taking these 5 guys down. He's done the math.
So let's do something about it, Natalie.
Yeah.
Natalie. I mean, as ridiculous as the idea is that the minority is the threat to him, and the majority that he assumes he is part of, you don't talk about that with one of them.
Maybe he makes the mistake that Natalie's twin did and just assumes that Natalie's one of the guys, like Josh was one of the girls.
I suppose that would be possible, but then that would mean there's only 3 girls.
It's a 3-woman's alliance, and they got to take it out.
So, I mean, and that was the most beautiful part. Like, I thought it wasn't going to be better than this guy is throwing the challenge that gets him voted out. But no, he creates the all-girl alliance that he's trying to stop. So after Natalie is unable to successfully, calm him down, she just goes to the other girls and is like, how about we do it? They're not going to vote together, so this is our opportunity. And that was, oh my god, it was epically amazing. And I almost wish that, like, when the merge comes, the other 2 girls come in and they form like a super women's alliance.
Well, and then you assume it's going to stop there. Like, well, at least he can't get any dumber. Oh no. Hold on, my friend.
Oh god, oh my god. Oh my god, one of my favorite scenes in the history of Survivor. And like when it first starts happening, it's like, you clever editors, this is clearly a trick. This is not happening in real time. And obviously what we're talking about is him completely talking smack about Kelly, calling her a bitch, and we'll beep it, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And she's like 2 feet behind him.
Yeah. Well, so the way they first show it is, they're cutting back and forth.
Yep.
So you see Drew and then you see Kelly and you're like, oh, that's some random footage of Kelly. And then the camera sort of pans out and you're like, oh my God, she's right behind him.
She's literally there. It's the same shot. And he just keeps talking.
And it's not like he tries. He's not whispering. He's not like, bro, listen, we gotta do this. He's like, these bitches need to go. No, shut up.
It was so spectacular. Oh my god. And okay, so why Kelly? Why is he targeting Carl? I mean, and obviously there's folly in trying to parse the thoughts of a moron, but why do you think he was targeting Kelly? Like, why wouldn't Julie suffice? I mean, yes, his stated reason because she's watched every episode of Survivor. Although, yeah, as I've suggested, it's because she's watched any Survivor.
Exactly. She's like really smart, bro. We got to get rid of her.
Do you think it's because she's the most attractive member of his young woman of his tribe, and she clearly wants nothing to do with him?
Oh, maybe.
And that pisses him off. Like, any chick that doesn't want to sleep with him must be a bitch.
No.
Like, that's the world in which Drewshbag operates.
You know what it is? It's she doesn't want to sleep with him, so she must be a lesbian, and he's anti-gay, so she has to go home.
That must be that too. Good thinking.
Nailed it. Drew logic parsed. So when people criticize Sandra's gameplay because, Sandra never makes any big moves, blah, 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 I want to point to this exact scene, because all Drew has to do in this episode is just shut up and agree. I mean, I'm glad he didn't, because I really wanted him gone. But in a theoretical world where there was a Drew that I could tolerate, he should just shut up and agree, and he doesn't go home. Sandra knows this plan. Oh, we're voting for someone else? I'm in. Where do I write the name? Drew, no. I can't tolerate this person who would probably be my number 2 target. I need my number 1 target gone.
It has to be this way because the kingpin has declared it. Do you think at some point people are like, yeah, okay, sure, Drew, that's what we're going to do? Or do you think he just assumed that people agreed with him because he declared it to be so?
No, I think he probably assumed it just because, in his daily life as a model, he probably gets that a lot. He's like, yeah, they thought my idea was great. I am going to make the pouty face in this shot.
But yeah, I guess because he was running the show, he was just like, it's funny that they all think they have an opinion, but I said it's Kelly, so it's Kelly. I mean, Kelly might even vote for herself because I have that level of power.
I'm running this show, man. Or what was his exact quote? Because I didn't write it down. I really wish I had.
I can't remember, but it's something like, I'm clearly running this thing. I know he said he was the kingpin.
Yeah, and then he said something about masterful something.
Yeah,
anyway,
yes, something like that too.
He was a quote machine.
God bless the show. They did not pussyfoot around. They did not try to obfuscate. Was there even a single solitary second that you thought Kelly was in a remote part of danger?
No. And I think maybe if you're new to the show, you wouldn't know. But if you've watched this show for a while, you knew very early on that Drew was going home this episode.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for not trying to convince us otherwise. And obviously, it's obvious why they didn't. For one, because this is hilarious. Yes. But for 2, he threw a challenge. And if you throw a challenge, the show will do all it can to make you the fool.
Yes.
And if they can't, because, it was successful and it accomplished your goals, they pretty much will try to hide the fact that you threw a challenge.
Exactly.
But yeah, so they did that, and they were like, all right, we're going to get this guy. Because the show does not want to promote the idea that these little contests that are a big part of each episode can be meaningless.
Yes.
Because, and I get it. They shouldn't, it undermines the concept of their television. But, yeah. And that's why, people, are very dogmatic. You should never throw a challenge or whatever. You and I are not that way. No. It's if it makes strategic sense and you've really thought it through, then, do it.
If you're confident in your numbers, go ahead.
But the one thing I do caution about that, some people like to throw out, mystical terms like karma. It's not so much karma so much as the producers will try to find a way to mess with you. And not just in the edit. Yeah, that's enough, It's just better work out because you will look stupid if it doesn't. But I don't think it's above the Survivor producers to be like, okay, you think you're in, all right, we're going to swap.
And
or something
try to
like
swap,
that.
Exactly, yes.
Or the next 3 challenges are going to be things that clearly favor the other side.
Right.
So that's one reason. It's you might not want to anger their Survivor gods, and those gods are Jeff Probst and the producers. But, getting back to Drew.
Yes. There's so much Drew to discuss tonight.
So I think those were all the different ways he manufactured his own exit. Being himself, being a lazy ass around camp, being somebody nobody likes, throwing a challenge, creating the all-girls alliance that gets to vote with him, and ensuring the guys are split enough that 4 votes would have been enough. They got the 5 they needed, but it didn't matter.
Good job, Drew.
Just gold star. Nobody has approached that level of fail, I think, in Survivor history. I don't know if he's the worst. We're going to have a bit of a discussion on a different topic. But this was a singular performance of suck.
It was truly magnificent.
But besides his exit, he had some other nuggets tonight. What did you think about his brilliant plan to negotiate the repurchase of goods with the original Flint?
I enjoyed that Jeff humored him and let him keep talking, and then it was like, I'm just fucking with you. Good job, Probst.
And I do like how the rest of his tribe just like, no, I'm not with this guy.
Yes. Just so you know, Jeff, I have no part of this
They
whatsoever.
did not want to risk the wrath of probes. And it's like, what's your return policy? And I think, was it John? Was it like, they're just messing with us, right?
No, that was,
or was it Reed?
That was Reed.
All right.
I do think
like,
John did ask him, though, if he was messing with him. I think John was the one who was
No,
like,
Reed said the comment about the return policy. I know
and then
that,
I think John said, are you messing with us?
Yeah, and then Pro's like, yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And even then, Drew's like, at least I have the balls. I was like, oh, God.
Yes.
Way to keep insulting your tribe. You're a treasure. So, he goes to exile with Jacqueline, and that was also kind of a fun scene.
Yeah, and a whole lot of people were very excited about the producers actually the editors, I guess, inserting the sound effects as we get a scene of Drew covertly ogling Jacqueline as she bends over to light a fire or pick up something or whatever it was.
Yeah, well, he keeps talking about what an incredible ladies' man he is, but I'm not going to take my bro's girl on this island.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
It was totally
fantastic.
On the table, bro. She would have done it,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
I left it there.
John's lucky. That's all we can say. That Drew has that level of self-control. And I mean, that's a callback of why I do think there might have been an element why he was so mad at Kelly. He's like, why isn't she worshiping me like clearly Jacqueline is?
Even Jacqueline, I think, was a little bit humoring him.
Oh, without a doubt she was. And, good on her. There's a chance that, this will be a useful idiot for her at some point. But yeah, I don't think she was particularly impressed.
Well,
I do like how she kept talking like, Alec tells me he's a ladies' man. How much time do you think Alec spends talking about Drew?
Well, I know what he does talk about Drew. You know, Andy, Drew wasn't waking up to wash cars, bro. No, it was all Alec. What the hell?
Which, I mean, it's funny enough to make fun of Alec, but I also love that even in his brother's confessional, the editors made sure to get a dig at Drew.
Yes.
Like, even his own blood is dogging him this episode, and they're not even together.
Yeah, exactly. The only reason that's included is because we're just getting the full Drew this episode, so.
Yeah. I would call it gilding the lily, but I don't care.
Yeah, we laid it on
fantastic.
thick. It's okay.
All right, so yeah, there was one question, is like, is he one of the worst players? And the problem with that discussion is every season somebody is spectacularly bad, and we're like, nope, worst ever.
Yeah, even
Jatia
last
is the worst ever.
Yeah.
Shamar, worst ever.
Well, even last season, it was Jatia or Garrett. Both of them were the worst ever.
And, like, I think Drew's in the discussion. If you're going to put a top 10 list, like, it's pretty hard to top what he did. I mean, sure, he was the fourth person voted out, but only because his tribe didn't lose, right? But, like, the very first time, he got rid of himself. So that's pretty bad. But I think the more interesting discussion is he the biggest douchebag in the history of Survivor?
Well, our friend Dr. Horrible had that question for us, and I love it. He says, does Drew get the biggest douchebag edit ever? And what other douchebags is he competing with here? Because my contenders, the first ones that came to mind, were Eddie from Caramoan, but I feel like he was he was the lovable douchebag, though. Mm-hmm. I don't think they delighted in Eddie going home. They genuinely liked Eddie.
Yeah, and honestly, by the end, we kind of almost liked that lovable douche, too.
With his little
dog
bar.
He was just like, come here. He's you just rub him on between the eyes, like, oh, you crazy.
Like the dogs at the bar that he's going to own someday.
Precisely.
So, my other thoughts, maybe Shannon from Nicaragua?
Yeah, I had that thought, and I think he's certainly a douchebag, but he was just too distasteful. And I mean, not to say Drew wasn't. I mean, it was just dropping B words all over the place there. But like Shannon was pretty hateful.
Yes,
I think he moved to a stratosphere beyond douche in his incredibly short time on that show.
Okay, so I'm getting closer to a decent guess here, and then I was like, well, Garrett from Cagayan, nah, Drew's was way worse. Mm-hmm. So there's only two that I had that I think came close. Do you want to throw out any before I get to my last two?
Yeah, sure. I took a different approach to this question because I think if the answer is, has anybody got a bigger edit? No one's gotten a bigger than this in terms of the edit. No. Now, was anybody as big a douchebag? Ozzy is a supreme douchebag.
But they didn't give him
But
the
show doesn't
edit.
treat him like that, right?
No.
So that's the question. Like, if it's an edit, no. Ozzy's edited as a hero, right?
No,
Not in
we
the
can
first
read
half of
between the
Cookhouse.
lines and tell.
But you and I think that he is one of the supreme douches in the history of Survivor. That said, he is a very accomplished douche.
Yes.
And I think that's what leads to it. Like, there's reasons for his arrogance.
Right.
He is really freaking good at some stuff. And, you know, when I was watching my...
stuff.
Well, physical stuff.
Yes.
And he has a variety of talents within there, right? It's not just one thing.
That's true.
When I was watching Micronesia, it kind of clicked for me. It's just like, he's the really great athlete that doesn't understand why people aren't on his level. I think I said to you that he was Carmelo Anthony. He's like really good at this thing, and he's going to keep shooting it, but not so much with the winning. You came back with the Syracuse thing, but
yeah.
I like my answer anyway. I had Eddie.
Okay.
I had Keith from South Pacific.
We never even see Keith.
No,
I'm thinking of Cowboy Rick.
No. Keith. Kept picking on Cocker and laying out and hooking up with him, then cuckolding a guy on national television, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I think he's a pretty giant douche.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
Yeah, that's pretty close. And I think the show was interested in making him look like a bad guy because they were interested in. They knew a lot of people would sympathize with Cochran. Apparently, not that many because. A lot of standard Survivor fans were more pro Aussie.
Mm-hmm.
I had Rob with 2 B's from Thailand.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, and he's kind of a harmless douche. Although I guess
unless you're
not
Clay.
if you're outside of the attack zone, he's not.
Yeah. If you're Clay's throat, he is not a harmless douche.
But and it's maybe kind of similar. He was a complete moron too. Probably somebody who's gotten by with looks and just thinks that they're, the hottest shit around. And, to show that I'm not the completely in the bag, how about Boston Rob?
Oh. Which season of Boston Rob?
I would say Marquesas version, but really, there's undercurrents of douche throughout all of this.
You could definitely throw All-Stars in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the only other two that I really had were Jason Siska, but I think he kind of got the adorably dumb edit just like Eddie did, and Drew was much more aggressively stupid. So
yeah, and I'd say Siska was just stupid.
Yes.
Like, I think he probably was a douche, but they didn't quite push that agenda very much. They were just like, get a load of this moron.
Yeah, and, well, you know what? This one just came to mind before I even get to my clincher, my home run. Jean Robert.
Oh, yeah.
He was a douche.
And he got quite the douche edit.
He did.
They were able to stretch it out, and maybe that's why he can't match what Drew has, because it was such concentrated douchebaggery.
Yes.
But yes.
You got much slower
Jean
doses.
Robert.
Yes. Okay, so my clincher. This is the home run, because I don't think you thought of this one, because it doesn't completely accurately fit the description, but Heidi from Amazon.
Oh, see, I was going to ask you if there's lady douches.
Oh.
And I thought about Heidi and Jenna.
She has to fit.
I think this is an important social discussion we're having here. Can women be douches, or is it a gender-specific term?
It should be, but, come on. Heidi's got to be in the discussion.
Yeah, if we can, cross, the boundaries of sex here, and really, do some healing.
Phrasing.
I think, yes. I thought of Heidi, too, and I thought of Jenna. And then I actually have a couple other ladies if we're opening up to the other sex. Alicia from One World.
Okay.
Not
bad.
She got a little almost too nasty, so I think it might push out of the world of douchery, but there was certainly a lot of douche moments.
Phrasing.
And then, to pair with Keith, Whitney Duncan from South Pacific. Like, it was the perfect pairing of douchebags.
Not bad. So I like that you had a list of females ready to go just in case, though. So you were clearly thinking roughly along the same lines as I was here.
Yeah, so I think, clearly if some people were missing, please let us know. But I think those are the contenders. So then there's a couple of questions then. Did any of those get a bigger douche edit than Drew? And I say no. I think he's one, and there's a gap between two. And from what we discussed, I think number 2 might be Jean Robert. I think that was a great pull.
Well, I think it's more what you said. It's Drew's is so concentrated that it's like they pack it all into one episode, whereas when you get it in slower doses, the douchebag edit doesn't seem as strong.
Yeah, and, like, if it's long enough period, you might even get a couple scenes where the person doesn't even seem that bad. There was never a scene in this season where Drew didn't look bad. And then tonight, it was just an entire episode of, like, get a load of this guy. Like, to the point where I was surprised they didn't have, like, a shot, like, a B-roll footage of a Tarsier monkey making a jack-off motion while he's talking.
Oh my god, that would be the best B-roll they ever showed.
But yeah, like, that was, the entire episode was about this. But of this list, are any of them bigger douchebags than Drew?
Probably not. I don't think that Jean Robert has quite the same level of douchebag confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Heidi might.
Yeah.
And she's up
a
there.
Possibility. And then I do think Keith is a big one as well, because there was nothing to that guy other than I'm amazing because I'm attractive.
Which, stretch. But, yeah. So, I mean, again, I think sort of the same way. Heidi's, much like Drew's, there's at least some basis for justification, you know? They probably both get treated pretty well in their daily lives. They're probably like, yeah, I deserve all this praise. I'm the best.
But, I mean, that, of course, is what makes somebody a douchebag, right?
Yes.
Like, there's not a lot of, like, you know, loser... I mean, okay, all douchebags are losers, but, you know, like, you know, people who can't get in the club or, you know, spend their time alone all the time. Like, those people are misanthropes and all that sort of thing.
Right.
Like, doesn't mean they can't be awful. There's a lot of stuff going on the internet that proves otherwise. But, yeah, douchebags are that person that, you know, acts like they're hot shit all the time and has low disregard for everybody around them and high regard for themselves. And I guess maybe we should. Maybe the answer is obvious. Ozzy is the biggest douchebag in history.
He is. I really wish they would actually edit him that way, though. It's so obvious.
They came very close in Micronesia, right?
They gave you some hints.
Especially the episode that he went home. But people like him, so they can't because they want to give people what they want because they're not stupid. Maybe that's CBS's entire business model,
right? Give the people what they want.
Yeah, it's like, let other people be hip. We'll just be over here making money.
Yep.
So I think that's a pretty good, I think we've encapsulated the history of douche, but maybe we should just stick with Drew because it fits so well and you've given him the ultimate moniker. So farewell, douchebag. You may have sucked completely, but you did bring a lot of enjoyment to our lives.
It's just so serendipitous that his name is Drew, you know, just perfect for the douchebag. So
I think, like, you enjoyed this episode, right?
I did. I found it, I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, yes.
It's weird, and it's the question I wrote down, although, you know, it's clearly a leading question. Can an episode be both good? Because I think I also enjoyed it. But also a sign that we might be in for a really bad season. Because I think that's what happened last night. When I wasn't laughing and just enjoying the ultimate Schadenfreude on display, I was like, oh god, these people are morons and it's getting worse, not better.
Yeah, and the one that immediately comes to mind is Marquesas when they flip on the Row 24 and you're like, oh, that was awesome. And then slowly over the next few episodes, you're like, oh wait, look who's left. Womp womp.
Yeah, it's just, I am not getting a good vibe from this season at all.
Well,
because
the only point of contention I have with you here is that I don't know that I had a great vibe about this season before this episode, though.
Oh yeah, no. I think this episode just helped confirm what we've been building. Just the one thing is, this is the episode we got to experience what was happening on, you know, the Blue Tribe.
Right.
You know, you could still hold out hope that it's like, well, maybe the geniuses are over there, and we're just not getting them at all because, yeah, the other people are losing all the time. That's what happens, right? It happened Blood versus Water, it happened with Current Moment. But now we've seen both tribes, and it's like, wow, there's a whole lot of suck going down. Like, oh my god. Not as much suck as Drew would have liked. 4 different names happen to Tribal Council. Oh my god.
I remember this summer when we were breaking down all the Survivor seasons. Hey, there's a stealth plug. We talked about Borneo and the record that I think will never be broken. When there was a tribal council with 7 people getting their names written down, you almost never even have 3. The only time you get 3 at this point is when they're splitting votes.
Yeah.
So to get 4, and it wasn't even remotely intentional, come on. That was a total facepalm.
Yeah, like, you can almost see 4 if it's, like, 2 groups and then, one of the groups is splitting and then one other person just is, like, a rando. Like, that would be really weird, but you could see it. That's not what was happening here. It was basically 5 people knew what they were doing, and the other 4 absolutely just did not. And it's like nobody had formulated the agenda or finalized the plan, and, honestly, I'm starting to enjoy this guy. John, I like that he just came out and said, I don't know what I'm doing tonight. Nobody has told me what we're supposed to do.
I like that it was supposed to be someone's job to babysit John, and they forgot.
Get one job. Yes. And what's even more crazy is, so we have 4 different votes, 4 different names, but the people who were, like, trying to get some of those people voted out didn't even vote for them.
No.
John's plan to vote for Julie, he didn't vote for Julie, but 2 other people did. He votes for Keith because that was Jeremy's plan, but guess what? Jeremy
didn't vote for Keith. So, speaking of Keith, though, we got that adorable scene where Keith doesn't understand the concept of sub-alliances and alliances within a greater alliance. And so, Jeremy, for reasons that totally escape me, decides to explain in the middle of tribal council, hey, you and I could have had a little side deal. We could have gotten out these other jokers and led them along. He's laying this whole plan out to Keith.
In front of the other jokers.
In front of the other jokers.
Well, sub-alliances, yeah, that's a good one. It is a good one.
And shout out to Natalie for her very good Southerner impression. She has a better one than you do, I think.
Well, she's probably been around them more.
That's true.
Oh my god, yeah, like, that was crazy. It was, now, here's the thing, people love crazy tribal councils, and it was fun enough tonight, but if this is the kind of crazy tribal council we'll get, I think we'll get tired of it pretty soon. Because we want craziness because it's like somebody pulled off a well-executed plan, not a bunch of people didn't know what they were doing.
See, I don't mind the stupid craziness. The thing is, I don't know that it's sustainable, though.
Yeah.
I mean, well, with this group, you never know. But that's the problem with it. It's like in Micronesia, we had this discussion this summer too. There were a lot of quote unquote big moves that were really in large part because someone was stupid. So if we can reach roughly that ballpark, it could be an okay season.
Could be. I will counter with the fact that that's one of the reasons I'm not as high on Micronesia.
That's very true.
The one thing that I can definitely say I've kind of said it a bit before, I'll say it again. They are learning on the job. Like, this is what happens with first-timers. And I think we, as, commenters on Survivor, are probably far too quick to write somebody off because they make a mistake. It's like, oh, well, that guy obviously sucks at Survivor. It's like, well, no. Sometimes you make mistakes, and it's about how you overcome them, especially if this is your first time. So, yeah, I'm not going to write everybody off, especially because I think there's some people that maybe just haven't gotten some screen time because they don't need to be, right? I mean, it's either the morons over at Orange or this, symphony of moronity that was tonight's episode. So it's like if they're not featuring, say, Kelly is basically what I'm talking about. Okay. I mean, it's not encouraging that they're not featuring her.
Yeah. Doesn't look good for her.
No, but you could also understand how the show just wouldn't, especially if, she's trying to just keep it low-key and under the radar. This show will ignore women even when they win. So,
yeah, my concern with Kelly is that she just didn't seem very assertive, but, I mean, it could have happened and we just didn't get to see it, so.
Yeah, or that she knew she didn't have to be. A lot of that was with Sophie, too. It's like, why isn't she doing this? Why isn't she flipping on her? It's like, because she's set. She's good.
Yeah.
It's like, so Kelly doesn't have to worry too much about what this idiot douchebag is doing. She's like, yeah, you keep talking, moron. Nobody likes you, and we're going to vote you out.
Right. The end result is that she's in a good position now. So I guess she doesn't have to be too assertive.
Yeah, so that was kind of a fun tribal council. Which leads into the next question, as you were discussing how Jeremy just puts it all out there for Keith, because he just has to say something. Last week, we thought we were introducing what might be a weekly segment. Is Josh good at Survivor, bad at Survivor? Well, this week, it's Jeremy, good at Survivor, bad at Survivor.
I feel like the answer is kind of similar to what you gave last week, where he has one specific skill set that is useful, which is that everybody seems to like him. I mean, a lot of people seem to think they were in alliance with him that aren't. Strategically, not very impressed. I mean, calling out Keith about the idol thing and then telling him in the middle of tribal council all about how to pull off a sub-alliance, like, leave some things unsaid. You don't have to teach this man the game in the middle of tribal council.
Yeah, in front of everybody. Yeah, I think, yes, he's clearly has some social bonds because from what we've seen, things that should be damaging to him have not been so far. Obviously, we'll have to wait to see what the fallout, if any, is from his tribal council jam session with Keith there. Mm-hmm. But when Keith went to everybody about the idol, nobody was like, oh, I can't trust that Jeremy. It was more like, we should go tell Jeremy he can't trust Keith.
Yes.
And he was able to win that over pretty good. So that, I think, speaks well that he's doing okay. I think what doesn't speak well, and this is especially true of him, not, I think, at all true of Josh, if we're doing the comparison, is he seems very emotional.
Yes.
And I think that could be a problem, you know?
Yes.
Why does he bring this up with Keith? Because he's still pissed about it, and I think because he's a bit pouty that he didn't get his way. You know, that, they're voting Drew tonight. They're not voting what he wanted. So he's just like, all right, I just gotta say it. You know, and I don't know if that's because it's like, okay, I'm just going to say it and try to get it over with, or, plead my case one more time for next week. But he was pissed at John Rocker. He was pissed at Keith. It's just like, I think you need to slow your roll a bit, Jeremy.
Yes, I agree. And this coming from us, emotional robots, I'm sure
Yes.
He'll heed our advice.
And I would say,
Emotionless robots, I should say.
He might not have been cast because he's a calm, emotional person. I don't know if that's what the show is looking for, and all the time anyway. And they're probably right to not look for that. But I think if anything is going to be his undoing, it's that he flips out a bit too much.
Do you think that we were wrong last week with our wild speculation that he's the leader over there? Because the Drew vote was Natalie's plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we were wrong. I don't think it was like we're completely wrong. Like, clearly he's not the leader. I think there is no leader.
Right.
I think he might be a bit more of a leader on the day-to-day stuff. If he's like says, okay, let's go get some firewood or whatever, more people will listen to him. Clearly he was enough that people went to him with information. So I think he's in a bit of an elevated role, but he's not the only one there. And I don't think that hierarchy has been established. Because clearly he didn't come close to getting his way. Just John voted that way. So maybe John thought he was the leader.
Yeah.
But the rest, they were like, no, we have to do this and we're going to do this.
So that was the one thing that I did put in Jeremy's favor is that, so strategically, like I said, he was kind of a mess. But at the very least, like I was talking about earlier with Sandra, he does the right thing and just the girls say, hey, we're taking out Drew. And he's like, okay, signed up. There we go.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before. We'll talk about it many times again. There are times when you don't expend game capital in order to get your way.
Yep.
And it's like, sure, it would have been better for Jeremy to get out somebody who has proven willing to hurt Jeremy. But this wasn't the time.
No.
Clearly the people he was aligned with were very set on doing something else, so you just do that something else.
Yes.
It's not that big a deal.
This was not the hill to die on.
Yes. So that's a positive in his favor. Here's one more negative. Why the F did he not find the idol?
Good Lord. Didn't he have the clue that said 7 steps north?
Yeah, he had John Rocker read his clue. It was his clue.
Yes.
John Rocker found it with that. I think Keith got a bit more, but not much more. I mean, in fact, Keith had to just basically correct the 7 steps north, and then it seemed to literally jump out at him.
Yes.
How? Like, did he just decide it wasn't important?
That's the only thing I can think is that maybe he looked once or twice and was like, I have to dig really deep and just gave up.
So that's a bigger Survivor philosophy question. Because it's been that way. I mean, original blood versus water. People are burning clues instead of going out and finding the idol. At least that happened. I don't know if they also tried to find the idol.
Tyson
if
did.
you have the opportunity to get the idol, you should, right?
Generally, yes. I mean, there
might be some exceptions.
Yes, there are some exceptions.
If you have to do it in so public a way, then maybe no, but you kind of don't. Especially not this idol. I'm going to get some water.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're really good at Survivor, maybe you don't need the idol to advance, right? Social bonding, that sort of thing, is far more important than idol having. But here's why you want to have the idol. So other people don't.
Right. So that's the key. And I think even Boston Rob mentioned that. He's like, I don't need this, but more importantly, I know that other people don't have it. I mean, we've seen people play a dominant game and win without an idol. There's Cochran, Sandra. There's been several of them fairly recently. But the more important thing is to at least know where the idol is.
Yeah, Tyson also made that point after. It's just like, if he has the idol, he controls that piece of information.
Yes.
It's not this thing out there that he doesn't know about. Yeah, I mean, and Rob's a great example, because in Heroes vs. Villains, he was like this. He was like, screw it, we don't need it. Anybody goes out there is going to be all that. And then he gets voted out because Russell found it. And so the next, on try number 4, he's like, screw it, I'm getting the idol. And Jeremy should have that idol. And the fact that he doesn't is a big strike against him.
Agreed.
All right, so I don't think it's a big enough strike to put him in our next segment, which is the 0% Club. That was kind of strange, wasn't it?
That was a great transition. Really stellar.
Yeah, so every week we decide who has reached the point where nothing, 0.0 chance of winning. Not that we don't think they're going to win, or it seems unlikely that they'll win, or they don't seem to feel like a winner. No, this person cannot win. 0% chance. And hey, we had both put Drew in there, so clearly we know what we're doing.
Yep.
And we both put John Rocker in there, so clearly we know what we're doing. There was one time I put Tony in there, so clearly we don't know what we're doing.
You don't know
you
what
didn't,
you're doing.
Though.
Yes.
You didn't.
I never did.
Who are we putting in this week?
Alec. I've seen enough.
You put him in last week.
I put him in last week?
Yes, you did.
Oh, see, I should keep track of these things. Luckily, you're around.
Yeah, so, to remind you,
I think I debated
active players, you have Alec, and I have Baylor. But if we want to talk about him, I'm willing to put in Alec this week. He's my name.
Okay.
Yeah, I held off just 1 week last week just because it's like, well, he's not as bad as Drew. And right on that score.
That's true.
He was able to trip over that low bar. Just the scene we got of Alec this week, besides him trashing his brother for being worthless, was his little spat with Baylor. And it just shows, like, anybody who has social interactions like that in this game and is that young and stupid is never going to convince a jury to give him $1 million.
No. He might be a fantastic GOAT.
Yeah, and the thing that holds you back is the Fabio corollary. The Fabio win almost just throws away all data, right? It's like, well, if that guy can win. But, I mean, the one thing I keep holding to is Fabio was really well liked. People thought that guy was funny. I'm not getting that impression with Alec. I don't think they dislike him like they disliked Drew, but nobody's taking that guy seriously.
I really enjoyed Baylor's eye roll / bro at Alec, though. Well done, Baylor.
And yeah, it's like, if you're a young person to win, you have to, either be the only likable person in a group of hateful people. And again, that's not the case here. These people are stupid, but they're not hateful. Or you have to be super accomplished, and Alec is neither. So, congratulations, Alec. You outlasted your older brother. You made it through 3 tribal councils. Well, he made it through none. But you are not going to win Survivor.
Yeah.
Do you got anybody else?
Right on the edge, but I'm not going to induct him, as John. He's so close.
Yeah, and I think what's holding us back is John might be Fabio.
Yes.
Yeah, he seems like a good dude. He's not very bright.
He's much more of the lovable idiot than Alec or Drew is.
It's tough because you look at this cast and you can write off so many people. Like that person isn't look like a winner. That person is getting a winner's out of this person, but if everybody looks that way, somebody's got to win, and it's almost like it's hard. And last season, it was much easier to put people in because there were people you could point to. It's like, they're not beating that guy.
Right.
But it's hard to look at this cast and say that, like, oh, this person couldn't beat that person. That said, I am going to put one more person in.
Who you got?
You might not realize this is a person on this show called Survivor, but
I know who this is.
I'm going with Reed.
Okay.
The show will ignore a winning female up at this point. I don't know if Danny was featured that much, although somebody did say she at least got some confessionals. I'm pretty confident Natalie wasn't. They will. And you can make arguments why they wouldn't have gone to Kelly, for instance, just because they didn't go to Blue very much in the first 3 episodes. But if Reed was doing something or anything, I think we would have seen it by now. And more importantly, he didn't even vote the right way this week. So he's not even, showing a good ability to form alliances with the right people. I think Reed was quite obviously the +1 to Josh.
Well, you know what did shine through with Reed, and this is my own weird neuroses. I already brought this up to you. Mm-hmm. I have this compulsion of analyzing people's running form just because, I ran, I coach track. It's something I do. We watch movies or TV shows and people run, and I'm like, that's good running form. That's terrible running form. Here's what this person should do. I watched Reed last night, and there are just limbs flailing in directions that don't seem to be going anywhere towards where Reed wants to go.
Yeah, not everything's a pirouette, Reed. You can bring those limbs in.
It was so bizarre.
You don't need to play to the cheap seats.
It was like watching a rag doll flail around and yet somehow move in the proper direction.
And clearly these things wouldn't prevent him from winning.
No.
But the fact that he is, invisible, he's getting nothing.
Yes.
And then he wasn't even part of, the dominant alliance of his tribe, I had assumed he would be. Yeah, that guy's not winning.
No.
He might be around for a while and we just forget he's there, because it's hard to think of, right now, why you'd vote him out. He doesn't seem to be a liability or anything like that. He seems like somebody who gets along with people enough. But I don't think he gets to sit at the big kids table, and he clearly doesn't have anything interesting to say. So Reed is not winning this iteration of Survivor.
I really 0%. Hope that he gets the Invisibrett edit. We totally forget about him until about episode 12, and suddenly he's back, and we're like, who the hell is this? What is this guy?
Yeah, I think the challenge there would be just the blood versus water concept. At some point, he should probably have to talk about Josh.
Yeah, especially if Josh is doing well in the game.
Or is voted out.
Oh, that too.
All right, so that's our list so far. So as a reminder, John, you have Alec. I have Baylor, Alec, and Reed. Oh, and then we both were able to suss out Josh, or John Rocker and Drew, because we're amazing.
Yes. Really great with our cognitive powers there.
Speaking of cognitive powers, so...
Oof, bad transition again. You are really off your game.
We've also been trying to figure out every week who we think is the person who quits this season, because there was a preview given that highly suggested that somebody will be. Last week I totally messed this up. I think because I just wanted to slag on Drew some more. I predicted him for this and then also to go home, to be voted out. And it was like, those don't quite correlate. So obviously I was wrong about half of that. Who do you think? You got any? So I think, where were you last week anyway? I can't even remember.
Missy.
And
you know what? I'm staying there this week.
So we're just keep riding that money out. Staying on 7, huh?
Yes. Let it ride.
One name we've gone back to several times was John.
Yeah.
And the idea was, he wants to be with his sick dad. Kind of feel like that's not a thing. I feel like they would have been laying that groundwork by now.
Yeah, we would have seen something about it.
But maybe he just quits because things aren't going well for him. But he's not my answer. My answer is the guy I just talked about. I could see Reed quitting.
If Josh goes home, Reed?
Yes, if Josh is booted, okay, and Reed is on the outs, because I think Reed watches the show. I'm not saying he's that level of dilettante, but I think it's like you watch the show with your wife, right?
Yes.
You do a podcast about it and write about it and run Survivor Fools, and she probably just watches.
Yes, she humors me.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't enjoy it, but she just watches. Right. My wife is somewhat similar, but she also listens to a 1-hour podcast about it every week.
Really? Which one?
Reed is that. He's the person watching. It's like, okay, that was cool. Now let's watch Scandal or something. I don't know what else is on Thursday. Although, Survivor's on Wednesdays. Whereas Josh, he was the one that really wanted to do it. He's probably in the super fan. And I think Reed was doing this for him. So I could just see... he's clearly not that involved with the show, even that he's on it. So if Josh were to go, he could just be like, screw it, I'm out.
Okay.
So,
I think you've actually mentioned him before. It was one of those two.
Yeah, in the very first episode, back when we were doing more than one, I had him at number 3. So he's moving on up.
He's like the Jeffersons. Reed Jefferson.
So... we're great for this prediction stuff. Let's keep going.
Oh, yeah. I am on a roll this season, and... pretty much, if I predict that a person's going home, they are guaranteed safe at this point. So I'll say this next week we're going to get Dale going home. So congratulations on sticking around, Dale.
So are you just like randomly you're reverse jinxing yourself, aren't you?
No comment.
Yeah, so next week, the preview shows us it's the shuffle. They're doing some kind of swap or shuffle or whatever, which is, last week we had a conversation. Do you think they're going to do it? And the answer was yes, and we were right.
Nailed it.
Yeah, and I think it's really good that they're doing it this way. My argument was they waited too long in Blood vs. Water 1. Like, we want to see people vote each other out or, combine with each other. And there's plenty of opportunity. There's still plenty of couples on the board. Also, and it just worked out this season, I think next week is an entirely new season. Like, I don't think there's any alliances or bonds that are so strong that, like, there'd be a minority and they just pagong, like, the people that were from the wrong side. Like, I think we can see brand new alliances form and brand new power bases. Like, I'm not sure how much these first 4 weeks will matter from here on out. I think it rarely ever happens with a swap, right? Usually it's just, every once in a while you can kind of get a bit of combining of little groups to form a big group, like we saw last season where, Tony and Trish decided to team up with Jeffra and LJ.
Right.
But usually it's just like, all right, well, we were randomly put together on a tribe before, so we need to stick together and vote these other people out. But I think because, A, there seems to not really be alliances so much other than those of convenience, and B, the blood versus water concept, the loved ones concept, that who knows what's going to be next week, right?
Yeah.
Which is why, you just randomly picking Dale is perfectly okay.
Yes.
Normally we pick somebody from each tribe, but we don't even know what those are going to be. So I'm just going to throw out a name that will at first seem ridiculous. I'm going to go with Natalie.
Really? No.
Yeah, and I think it's worth talking about because Natalie was probably the best performer tonight, wasn't she?
She was.
Yeah, she was the one that was in on all the conversations and then just decided, no, we're going to do Drew.
Crazy.
Here's why I think Natalie. She was, I said it a couple episodes, she was the attack dog of her tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Which was great positioning for her to be, well insulated in her tribe, especially if she's worried about any potential fallout of her sister getting voted out. But if she winds up on the wrong side with a bunch of those people that she was being the attack dog with, I think she's an easy vote. And if you read any of John Rocker's exit interviews, and I only read one because I never really wanted to hear him speak, it sounds like she was doing epic amounts of trash talking for like two challenges, not just the one that, they had the come at me bro moment at the end.
Yes.
But the one before, like when she's doing swimming, she's just like cursing them out the whole time. Like, I think she did not play very well with the other side. So if she winds up at a numbers disadvantage with people from the other side, I think they just get rid of her. So.
Well, you are 3-0, so it's entirely possible she's gone next week then.
That's right. I do think there's a good chance that this is going to break my streak, because again, who knows?
Yep.
It'll all be weird. It's like, will they get together and just be like, there'll be a random single? And this is actually another reason why Natalie could be the one. Because, say there's a tribe, let's say it's 7-7, and we don't know if it's going to be 7-7 or if it'll remain.
I imagine they're going to keep it unbalanced.
And 6 of them are pairs, and Natalie is the knot. Well, then you punt on that decision and probably just vote out the knot. Or maybe she ends up becoming a powerful swing vote and you break up one of the couples.
She's powerful for 1 week.
Yeah. So that's one. But it could be, a tribe is put together and they're understaffed and then they have to vote out the old guy, like Dale, like you say.
Sure.
Or maybe, a threat. Maybe Jeremy goes because, like, all of a sudden he is outnumbered and he's a threat to them. So who knows, but I thought the Natalie one was an interesting
It's at least interesting logic, whether it's going to happen or not.
And look, if it happens, I'll be amazing.
Well, plus, we don't really know. They might, we said there's going to be a tribe swap, shuffle, whatever you want to call it. It could be like one of those schoolyard picks.
Yep.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, so if she does go home, it would be, I think, more the classic screwed by the swap than a comment on the fact that she's been playing bad. Because I think she's been playing well. But there's been good players that have been taken out right at the swap because of that very thing, because they were good players.
Yeah. I don't know about cussing other tribe out as playing well, though.
No, yes, and that's my big thing. And that's
she might be deficient in one area of gameplay.
Yeah, that's as short-sighted as suggesting that we should vote out everybody who's not a couple in case you end up becoming one of those people. Yeah. It's a good credo on Survivor to treat everybody well because you never know when you may need them.
Right.
And I don't think she's been doing that.
No, I don't think so either. So, like I said, good analysis. You're probably going to be right. And Dale will not go home, and Natalie will.
All right. Well, I think that's it, huh?
Let's tell people how they can contact us, Andy.
All right. You can, contact us with any of your comments, especially if you have some more douchebag suggestions. And I think we broke the podcast record for the usage of the word douchebag. So congratulations.
Yes.
That was good.
Woo! Can we call Guinness right now?
All right. Email us at purplerockpodcast@gmail.com. Leave us a tweet at purplerockpod, or leave us a comment on our blog, purplerockpodcast.wordpress.com.
Yeah, and seriously, let us know who your biggest douchebags of Survivor history are. I'm very interested to hear your feedback on this one.
All right, so there we go. Another show. We got any robots that have anything to say?
Nope. Robot silence this week. At some point, we need to have a John robot, by the way.
Like a robot that visits robot prostitutes?
It's a robot that likes blackjack and hookers.
Shout out to Blackjack and Hookers. Theme music.